But you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion. The reality is she's just not stable, like the majority of people in Hollywood. They're just not stable human beings.
Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim, and that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad.
It's one of the most explosive backstage scandals in recent theater history, and it's not a case of public speculation or baseless rumors. What we're about to dive into is a story backed by internal memos, private messages, and insider accounts. This isn't the first time we've seen a celebrity unravel publicly, but this one feels different. It's personal. It's ugly. It's real.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks.
The story in question revolves around Rachel Zegler, a young actress who was once riding high on the success of West Side Story and Snow White. She was handed a dream role in the West End's revival of Evita, a role that could have solidified her place in musical theater. But what was meant to be a career-defining moment became a nightmare, both for her and the production. In this detailed breakdown, we'll go behind the headlines and explore how Zegler went from being cast in one of the most iconic roles in theater to becoming the focal point of a growing disaster. From tense rehearsals to leaked director's notes and viral backstage footage, what really went down behind the curtains of Evita?
If you've ever seen Evita, it is a challenging part to play, and I don't think she has the temerity, the stamina, you pick a word here, in order to pull it off going, every single day that the theater is open.
Let's start at the beginning. When Rachel Zegler was cast as Eva Perón in the West End revival of Evita, it was supposed to be a moment of redemption for her. She was stepping into a huge legacy role, one that could have propelled her into the upper echelons of theater stars. But the casting decision was polarizing from the start. Fans debated whether a young Latina actress was the right choice to embody the infamous Argentinian First Lady.
Exclusive! Branding experts warn that Rachel Zegler backlash could ruin Disney's big-budget Snow White remake and predict executives will be having crisis talks in order to win back fans ahead of the 2024 release. Rachel Zegler has been running amok and talking all about this new role that she will be playing as Snow White and how it has been reimagined.
It's no longer 1937.
And people are pissed, right? Because she's playing this iconic role and she's talking about how the movie is dated.
The cartoon was made 85 years ago. It's extremely dated.
It needs to be redone. Snow White is not going to be
saved by the prince.
And she's in fact going to be a girl boss feminist who don't need no man.
She's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
I don't think Disney anticipated that it really has a deep and strong emotional place in their childhoods and throughout their lives. And maybe that film from 1937 did not need to be reimagined.
Some hailed it as a bold, modern take. Others viewed it as a mistake. And while the buzz was deafening, no one expected what would come next. For Zegler, the role of Eva Perón seemed like the perfect opportunity to distance herself from the controversies surrounding her previous roles, particularly the backlash over her portrayal of Snow White in Disney's live-action remake. She was supposed to prove she could handle the intensity and complexity of a role like Eva, a character known for both her power and vulnerability.
Studios really need to go back to what they originally did, which was tell your stars to shut up and not say things, because no one is paying to hear your star say offensive things off the screen.
But almost immediately, cracks started to show. Rehearsals began, and reports of behind-the-scenes tension quickly followed. Zegler, it seemed, wasn't meshing well with the cast or creative team. Rumors of her being late to rehearsals, challenging choreographers, and clashing with vocal coaches surfaced. But as the days went on, the situation escalated into something far worse. Industry insiders began leaking whispers of what was going on backstage.
And then, because, you seem to be dominating the world of musicals, you're doing Evita in London, right?
Big Andrew Lloyd Webber fan right over there.
Was that your dad whistling?
Yeah. You guys see Stanley Tucci back there?
That'll be fun, huh?
It's gonna be the best time. It's my West End debut. I'm so excited.
You've done a lot of Broadway.
Yeah, well, yeah, I did Shakespeare for 20 weeks. I'm coming off of that right now.
20 weeks of Shakespeare.
It's a lot.
Do they say like the audiences in England are different than the American audience?
I've heard they're more reserved, and I certainly didn't have a very reserved experience on Broadway.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were in a very, an 800-seat theater in the round, so you really are this close to your audience at times, and I'm with the biggest heartthrob in the...
Zegler was described as combative, demanding, and uncooperative. Sources claimed she constantly resisted direction and undermined the work of the creative team. One source noted that she believed the production revolved around her. It wasn't just about acting anymore, it was about power. And then, the rumors about an explosive meltdown began to surface. A walkout during a rehearsal was the breaking point. According to some accounts, Zegler refused to perform a newly choreographed scene and argued with the director in front of the entire cast. Tempers flared. A rehearsal was halted. Security was called. The actress, who had been at the center of the production, was escorted out. This is where the story takes a dramatic turn.
So I decided to walk to the studio because it's really pretty out. It's only like a 15-minute walk. I haven't been out to walk in a warm place in a really long time, so it kind of feels just like wrong, and I feel like I'm forgetting everything that
What had once been whispers among the cast and crew suddenly became public knowledge. A leak, no one knows who it came from or why it was made, sent shockwaves through the theater community. A screenshot of private director's notes surfaced online, revealing a disturbing picture of the situation backstage. The director's notes, allegedly written during the third week of rehearsals, were brutal. Zegler remains combative in all creative discussions, refuses to take direction, demands revisions mid-rehearsal without prior approval, one point read. Her presence on stage is magnetic. Her presence backstage is toxic.
Also really important to me that I share with you not only the really good, exciting moments, but also like the little blips where I just don't feel great. I think that's really important that you see me as a human being, because I think a lot of people don't. So I don't know. I want that.
The words were shocking, but not entirely unexpected, given the tension that had been building. The production wasn't just falling apart, it was collapsing under the weight of one actress's ego and attitude. These notes were never meant to be shared with the public. They were supposed to be private, internal assessments meant for the production team.
I'm like so ready to just throw my phone away. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I know it's gonna happen. If you have any opinions, I don't want to hear.
But someone, whether out of frustration, desperation, or retaliation, leaked them. And once the public got a hold of the documents, everything changed. Within hours, the leaked notes were everywhere. Fans, theater insiders, and media outlets were buzzing about what had happened behind closed doors. Everyone had their own theories, but one thing was clear: Zegler was not the innocent victim in this story. Public perception was shifting. She wasn't just difficult to work with, she was destroying the show. Meanwhile, Zegler remained silent. No tweets, no statements, no clarifications. The actress, who had previously been outspoken about her roles and her journey, was now conspicuously quiet. Her fans, once fiercely loyal, began to grow frustrated. They wanted answers. They wanted her side of the story. The silence was deafening. The timing couldn't have been worse. Zegler had already been at the center of controversy due to her portrayal of Snow White in Disney's live-action remake. She'd publicly criticized the 1937 cartoon, calling it dated, and pushing for a more modern, feminist reimagining of the character. Many fans were upset by her comments, seeing them as disrespectful to a beloved classic. The media had a field day with the story, and it became clear that Zegler had no intention of playing by the rules. This all came to a head when the Evita leaks started making the rounds. Fans began to draw parallels between Zegler's behavior on the set of Evita and her approach to the Snow White role. Was this just a case of a talented actress pushing for change, or was it a pattern of unprofessionalism that had gone unchecked? The viral backlash against her continued to build, with some calling for her to step away from the spotlight entirely. From Disney's disaster to the West End nightmare, Rachel Zegler is speed-running the fastest fall from grace we've seen in years, one tweet read, summing up the sentiment of many. The situation became even more intense when it was reported that Zegler had been quietly replaced in Evita. A new actress was brought in to take over the role of Eva Perón, and the change was made without much fanfare. No official statements were issued. There was no grand announcement. It was almost as if the production was trying to sweep the entire scandal under the rug. But by now, fans were already piecing together the puzzle. The viral videos, the leaked notes, the missing updates from Zegler's social media. It all added up to one conclusion: she had been fired from the production. And this wasn't just a case of a public figure being replaced, it was a full-blown implosion of an image. Zegler's carefully crafted public persona was now in ruins, and the question on everyone's mind was simple: how did it all fall apart so quickly? At this point, we're left to wonder what happens next for Rachel Zegler. She's been replaced in Evita. Her reputation in the industry is in tatters. She's been the subject of a full-scale public takedown. But even with all of this, she still has an army of supporters. Some fans argue that she's being scapegoated. They claim that the entertainment industry is always harder on women, especially outspoken ones like Zegler, who refuse to play the game. These supporters see the leaks as a coordinated attack to destroy her career. "She's being punished for having a voice," one fan wrote on Twitter. Others, however, believe that Zegler's downfall is the result of her own actions. They point to her disruptive behavior during rehearsals and her history of controversial comments. According to this camp, she's reaped what she sowed. Either way, the longer Zegler remains silent, the louder the leaks get. In today's world, where everything is scrutinized and amplified by social media, silence can be just as damaging as a confession. Will she ever respond? Will she clear her name? Or will she fade from the spotlight, forever branded as difficult to work with? As the drama continues to unfold, one thing is certain: Rachel Zegler's time in the spotlight has been irrevocably changed. Whether it's a temporary setback or the beginning of the end of her career, only time will tell. But for now, she's left with a tarnished reputation, a slew of leaked notes, and a theater production in chaos. Will the industry forgive her? Will she make a comeback? Or is this the final curtain call for Rachel Zegler in musical theater? As we wait for her next move, or lack thereof, one thing is clear: the stage has never been more unpredictable.